This all started when NBC Universal called us one day and they said, hey, we've got these life-size spaceships from Battlestar Galactica, 2 Vipers and a Cylon Raider, sitting in a warehouse down here in California. Are you interested in showing them? And we thought about it for, 2 seconds and said, yeah, definitely we would like to show them.
When we found out that the BSG ships were available to us, obviously our first reaction was excitement. There's a lot of BSG nerds on staff, so we were all very much interested in making this happen.
At the time, we weren't really thinking about the logistics of how we were actually going to bring these ships into the building, how we were going to get them up to the 3rd floor. We were just too excited to get going on it, honestly.
From the get-go, we knew that the real hurdle was going to be getting the ships first into the museum, and then secondly, actually into the gallery. We had 2 large pieces, 2 center fuselage sections for each ship that were too large for our freight elevator. And we needed to start to look at other ways to get those into the museum and then up to the gallery. As a Frank Gehry building, we have some very interesting shapes to work with and a lot of really unique textures that form the doorways of our building, so there's not a lot of flexibility to just make a door bigger because we wanted a bigger door. But it's not a small thing to simply cut up a Gehry building. It wasn't a decision we made lightly, but it was something that we knew we needed for this exhibit and for future opportunities for large, fantastic artifacts. And so it was something that we decided to go ahead with. Luckily, there is a space just below where the monorail passes through the building that provided us with a wall that was large enough to modify that wall and put in a roll-up door that would be wide enough to let the fuselage sections through and tall enough to clear the height that we could get the ships down to.
Facilities, nice job on that door.
So after this process of getting the ships to Seattle on a couple of trucks, getting them into our building, rigging them up, getting them into the gallery, assembling the ships, bringing in the casework, filling in the spaces around the ships, putting up the graphic panels, finalizing the lighting. After all of that, we all get to stand back and admire the work. And then in a year and a half, we do it all in reverse. So this is obviously a pretty complex installation. This is a long series of steps to bring all of these pieces into the gallery. But in the end, it's all very much worth it. These ships really are the anchor to this exhibit. They provide a sense of scale, and they're really just fantastic to see in person. And just the visual impact that will have, it makes it worth the trouble of getting them into the gallery in the first place.
I'd say after the ships, some of the neatest stuff we have in the show are costumes from both the old and the new series. Highlight is definitely number 6's red dress. And we have a Cylon costume from the original series. We have flight suits, props, scripts, and storyboards from behind the scenes, and also some really neat small personal objects of some of the key characters. So you'll get to see things like Starbucks dog tags right up close, Colonel Ty's eye patch. Things like that act as a connection between you and the character, and thus you and the story. So when you come see the exhibition and go through it, you'll come away with a deeper understanding, I hope, of all the work and the artistry that goes into creating an elaborate, complex television show like Battlestar Galactica, as well as an understanding of the story ideas and the concepts that drive those story ideas and make this drama more than a space opera, but something that is incredibly relevant to today and to our lives.